Hey guys, it's Britta back with another Monday review. Today I have a skincare review for you guys. Cocokind just released 2 new serums and I was more intrigued by the Ceramide Barrier Serum. I'm all about anything that claims to help repair the skin barrier, keep it nice and strong so my skin doesn't get really red, inflamed, dehydrated. And they actually were kind enough to send us this a few weeks in advance of the launch. So I think when you're watching this, it'll have been launched for less than a week, but I've been trying this for a few weeks now, and so I definitely have some thoughts on this. I actually don't know the price because it wasn't in the original PDF that they sent through, but obviously I'll have it linked below now that it's released. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm just going to read from the promotional PDF that they sent through. So this is the Ceramide Barrier Serum. It has 5 types of ceramides, which if you don't know what ceramides are, it's lipids that help maintain skin's natural function, reduce moisture loss, and protect against dehydration, irritation, and signs of aging. So when I think of ceramides, I feel like everything that I've ever used with ceramides, which if you're familiar with like CeraVe, that whole line, they have so many ceramides that they use in each of their products, which is where the name came from. But I always think of like increasing the moisture retention in my skin, kind of like really strengthening that skin barrier. They just really help with that. And like it said, they help with lack of moisture loss. And I feel like if things have ceramides in them, they're usually very calming, very soothing. They help to mitigate like redness, irritation. So I love ceramides. I look for them in skincare products through and through. If especially in like a moisturizer, I really love having ceramides because like I said, it just really helps protect that skin barrier. So that's a huge part of this serum. But it also has squalane, which I love squalane. I feel like it is one of my favorite oils. It really just helps to like lock in moisture again. It really helps to kind of make the skin appear smoother. Oil is not hydrating on its own, but it does kind of like smooth out skin cells, so it can make your skin appear smoother, which I love. It has lactic acid also, which I love lactic acid. I found that my skin really prefers this out of most of the AHAs compared to like glycolic. Glycolic and lactic are actually really similar, but the molecule size is different. So lactic is kind of a little bit, you know, better for sensitive skin, where glycolic can like penetrate deeper quicker. So I like glycolic as well, and neither of them are like too abrasive for my skin whatsoever, but lactic, I find it like really just gently exfoliates the skin, but also is very hydrating. At least on my skin, I find that it is not abrasive whatsoever. So I definitely see why they included it in this, because it kind of, you know, like has a layer of exfoliation so that the ceramides can really penetrate into your skin and like really help secure that skin barrier and protect it at all costs. Okay, so now I want to talk about the consistency of this serum. So it's packaged in their typical 1 ounce glass bottle. They have all their serums in this bottle. It's pretty simple packaging, but you know, I feel like Cocokind really invests their money in the formulations, which I appreciate. Like there's nothing wrong with this packaging whatsoever, but I feel like a lot of other brands, skincare brands, you know, can kind of like invest a lot in the luxurious feeling of the packaging, but then the formulas are kind of like so, or maybe they're good, but like the price point isn't really valid. Whereas Cocokind, I feel like their price point is so good and they really invest a lot of money in formulating. So I really appreciate that about the brand. I mean, Carly and I really love this brand. So as you can see, it's a very milky color, and hopefully you can tell. I'll actually do a close-up of this serum, but it is quite lightweight, and so it's a typical serum consistency where it kind of, you know, like squirts onto the skin, and it is very thin, but this one feels extra hydrating in my opinion. It feels, so I rave about the Moisture Ampule, and I do not know the brand. I don't know how to pronounce it off the top of my head, but I get it on Amazon, and that one is a very thick moisture. Like it almost could be a moisturizer, it's that thick, but it's a really thick Moisture Ampule slash serum, if you will. This one is definitely more lightweight in that it does feel a little bit thicker than maybe like, I don't know, like an essence type serum, but it really is thin where you can just spread it onto the skin. I apply it on slightly damp skin, which is how I apply most of my serums. Not even damp, I want to say, just like there's a little bit of moisture left on the skin, and then I go in with this. And it does say to apply 2 to 3 drops. It says gently massage or pat 2 to 3 drops of serum onto clean skin. Use AM and PM. So I generally use this in the PM. I apply a couple of drops to my fingers, and then I'll just like you know, kind of spread it around my skin and then pat it and press it into the skin. Like I said, slightly damp, not really wet at all, just like a little bit of moisture on the skin to help lock in that moisture. And I really love that this feels really hydrating. Like it feels like very moisturizing upon application. It feels kind of like a drink of water for your skin, and it does take a little bit to dry down into the skin, but I also like that aspect because if you've ever used a serum where, you know, you press it onto the skin and it kind of soaks in immediately, I'm like, oh, is that even doing anything? Like, is that doing anything for hydrating or moisturizing my skin? I don't know. Whereas this one, I feel like you can tell that it's hydrating the skin because it's really like sealing in all that moisture. And I actually started using this in conjunction with a higher dose of Retin-A. So I had been using the Retin-A cream at 0.025%, and I decided to switch to the gel for summer so that it would be a little bit lighter weight, and I went up to 0.05%. So I was like, okay, I know I'm going to probably deal with like a little bit of peeling going up a level, and the gel is a little bit more abrasive than the cream, so I was kind of like double whammy for my skin. So I started using this around the same time, and I really feel like this has helped kind of save my skin barrier from the more abrasive version of Retin-A that I had switched to. I feel like without this, I probably would have experienced more peeling. I still saw some peeling on like the top of my nose, which is kind of strange, but I didn't peel here, like anywhere that I would normally peel with like a really abrasive product. And I had been using it, you know, like every other day, so I feel like I would have experienced more peeling if I didn't have this product. I just think it like really adds that extra oomph like of hydration to the skin, where, you know, layering a moisturizer on top of this is key. This won't replace your moisturizer, but I do think getting like this dose of ceramides and like lactic acid and squalane before you put on a moisturizer just really adds like those extra great ingredients that are going to protect from irritation, redness, that you can get with like Retin-A or other actives. So I really love this. I feel like it's really been soothing my skin in a way that I haven't found with another serum of this kind. I actually think this is a really innovative product because, like I said, for a hydrating serum, I really opt for that moisture ampule, which I'll link that down below as well. But that one I do like to mix into my moisturizer because it is so thick. I feel like it just makes my moisturizer thicker and then adds that like extra layer of hydration and like really seals everything in, because the moisturizers I'm using right now are pretty lightweight. So I like that that kind of thickens it up. Whereas this, I wouldn't mix into a moisturizer. I definitely think you would want to apply this before moisturizer, but I love that it feels thin on the skin, yet it does add some moisturization before going in with a moisturizer, like I mentioned, and after an active. I think that this is like a great middle layer to like really add some protection to your skin barrier. And I quickly wanted to compare it to Crave's Great Barrier Relief. I didn't bring it over here, I should have, but I feel like a lot of people are going to want to know how they differ, because this is a barrier serum and Crave's Great Barrier Relief is also a barrier serum, and I think they're totally different in my opinion. I actually use Great Barrier Relief more so as a moisturizer when I feel like my barrier is compromised. I feel like that as a serum is a little bit too heavy for my skin. Like I notice if I still love that product, don't get me wrong, but I feel like if I use that, I mainly use it in the winter first of all, and if I use it like night after night, I feel like my skin can get a little bit congested because it's a little bit of a thicker consistency. That one has tamarind oil in it, which my skin really likes, but it is like a thick oil with like a pungent odor, and so I feel like, you know, any of thicker, more like active oils, not active oils, it's not a thing, but you know what I mean, just like very intense oils can really congest the pores. So I feel like if I use that, you know, a few nights in a row, I can see some congestion on my face, although it does completely repair the skin barrier. But I use that more so as a moisturizer than as a serum, because like I said, if I layer that under a moisturizer, it just feels like there's a lot going on and it's a little bit too thick, especially in the summer. I don't really use Great Barrier Relief as much in the summer, but in the winter time, I'll use that just in place of a moisturizer if I feel like my skin barrier is compromised. Whereas this, like I said, is so lightweight on the skin that you can easily pair it with any moisturizer because it just adds a nice layer, but it doesn't feel heavy, it doesn't feel sticky, like it sinks into the skin eventually, like I mentioned. and like that, it has that milkiness to it that I feel like just you can like tell that it's like hydrating the skin and calming the skin. So I wouldn't really say that the two products are comparable. I think that they do similar things, but I think if you have like a seriously disrupted skin barrier and you need help ASAP, I would probably opt for the Great Barrier Relief. I think this is a good product to use if you are introducing new actives like I did and you want to like protect your skin barrier. More so like a preventative method, I would use this serum. If your skin barrier is already like gone, I would opt for Great Barrier Relief. So I would use these two products differently in different ways, but I love them both. But this is really fantastic, especially for the price. And I think that any skin type could use this. I think dry skin would really love this, but I actually think oily skin would prefer this as well to other barrier type of serums or creams. So that was a long-winded review, but all to say that I really, really love this serum. It's probably the product from Cocokind that I've been like the most excited about in recent months, years. And I think, like I said, it's really innovative and it's affordable. I'm sure it'll launch at Target if it hasn't launched there. I'm sure they're launching on their website and then it'll be at Target later, but highly recommend. I've really been enjoying this. And if you've tried it or have been interested in it, let me know your thoughts down below.